Hello friends, Namaskar. Today I am going to talk about what is net zero with respect to climate change. So recently, the 26th Conference of Paris, COP26, which is being held in Glasgow, Scotland, our Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi ji is also attending the conference. So all of you might know what is net zero, or net zero is relating to what. So we have all heard that the term net zero, but what exactly does it mean? So to put simply, net zero refers to the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas produced and the amount removed from the atmosphere. In other words, net zero means huge declines in the use of coal, oil, and gas, which is fossil fuel. So all of this is made up of fossil fuel. If we reach net zero when the amount we add is no more than the amount taken away. But how can we achieve this, and what does it, or why does it matter? From countries and companies to individuals, tackling climate change is at the top of the agenda. And one way we can help to do this is to reach net zero. So if we want to tackle the climate change, definitely we have to reach net zero. So net zero is the balance between the amount of greenhouse gas produced by different industries and the amount removed from the atmosphere. So in one side we produce the greenhouse gas. On the other hand, we also try to remove the greenhouse gases from the atmosphere, so that it protects the earth from global warming. So therefore, what I am trying to say is that, so most of the countries and the companies, they also keep one agenda, that is climate change. We have to tackle this. And to tackle this climate change, we have to get into net zero. Okay, so indeed, the UK became the world's first major economy to set a target of being net zero by 2050. So in Glasgow 26th Conference of Paris Agreement, India, through our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, set the net zero target by 2030. Okay, so therefore, if I say what is climate change, if I say in a simplistic way, so evidence shows that our planet has been getting hotter, right? It is getting hotter day by day, and therefore the warmest 200 years on record have been in the last 22 years, according to the World Meteorological Organizations. So the meteorological organizations, it says that the warmest 20 years on record have been in the last 22 years. Okay, and the warmest 4 years were all are very recent. So what are this recent year in which the warmest 4 year, it is 2015 to 2008. This year are very warmest according to the World Meteorological Organization. So global average temperatures are now 1 degree Celsius higher than in the pre-industrial era. So pre-industrial era it was little bit lesser, but after industrial era it has increased higher than 1 degree Celsius. So a degree does not sound like a lot, right? A degree doesn't sound like a lot, but the reality is that this incremental warming already appears to be having a negative impact. What's more, if recent trends continues, this is set to worsen with the prediction of global temperature increasing by as much as 3 to 5 degrees Celsius by 2100, right? So even with this tiny rise in global temperature, we are feeling the effect of climate change. Just imagine, in one degree Celsius, we are feeling so much of hot, but by 2100, if the temperature increases 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, then it will be much more than we are feeling today, right? So we are feeling we are feeling the effects of climate change with erratic weather patterns. So the weather is not also static, it continuously changing from season to season or year to year, okay, including heat waves. All of you have heard of these heat waves, floods, and the severe storm, right? And loss of polar ice are the polar ice, the icebergs in the polar regions also melting day by day. So also it raising the sea levels, and therefore this will only get worsened if global warming intensifies. So we can understand, therefore all of this, everyone should be aware of this climate change, okay? Now if I talk about exactly what is causing climate change, what is causing climate change, if I say, it's widely recognized by the scientists and governments that climate change is being triggered by higher levels of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So the scientist has claimed, that because of this greenhouse gas, we are feeling the effect of the climate change. Their name derives from the greenhouse effect, okay? They create by warming the earth's surface. This, what I'm trying to say is that the greenhouse gas actually warms up the earth's surface and above the air as well, right? This is caused by gases that traps the energy from the sun, okay? Actually we get the light from the sun, right? But these greenhouse gas in the atmosphere actually traps the light of the sun. Therefore the most common greenhouse gases are water vapor, right, and carbon dioxide and methane. So these are the most common greenhouse gases. So carbon dioxide is the most dangerous and abundant of the greenhouse gases. which is why cutting carbon emissions, carbon footprints, or seeking low carbon alternatives are suggested as the way to address climate change. So all of you can understand the adverse effect of carbon dioxide. As you all know that this is very dangerous for our planet, which leads to global warming. And therefore, if I say, as we have come to know that greenhouse gases causing so much of global warming, so how can we stop climate change, right? That should be in our mind. We just can't complain that these greenhouse gases are warming off our atmosphere, leading to a melting of our polar ice, right? So how can we stop climate change? So the excessive of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere is triggering harmful global warming, right? So reducing the amount of these gases should help to tackle climate change. So how can this be done? This can be done in two ways. How? So in one way, we have to lower the emission we are sending into the atmosphere from activities such as industrial processes, power generations, transport, and intensive agriculture, right? And secondly, we have to remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. So one way, as I said earlier in the introduction, so in one way we are producing the greenhouse gases because industrial processes are part and parcel of everyday life, and it also providing multiple employment opportunities for all sections of the people, from skilled workers to unskilled worker. Therefore, these industrial processes or industries or factories have been contributing to climate change largely. Okay, so in one way, that's why if the industrial processes are in place, then there is chance of emission of greenhouse gases, and therefore we also have to reduce that. Once we produce, we also have to remove the greenhouse gases. This is the second point. The first point is to lower the emission, okay, and whatever the greenhouse gases have been produced, we have to remove from the atmosphere. For example, capturing carbon. There are various technology which capture the carbon, okay, which capture the carbon created during industrial processes before it is released or planting more trees. So for example, there is a company or there is an industry, so there should be a technology where the industry, while running, it produces greenhouse gases, and also there should be technology to capture the carbon dioxide before it is released to the atmosphere, okay. Or alternatively, we have to plant more trees, okay. So planting trees is also another important aspect to stop the climate change, okay. So if I say, and also we are talking about the net zero, okay, net zero. So why is net zero important? So let me tell you, net zero is important as it is the best way we can tackle climate change by reducing global warming. Okay, so what we do in next decade to limit emissions will be the critical to the future, which is why every country, sector, industry, and each of us must work together to find ways to cut the carbon produce. Okay, to cut the carbon that we produce every day, whether by running vehicle or by industry. Therefore, net zero is important to balance, to make the atmosphere balance, right? So net zero is, if we try to understand in a simplest way, is to make the balance between the greenhouse gases we produced during our industrial processes and to remove those produced in greenhouse gases from our atmosphere so that it maintain the equilibrium or the balance. Therefore, this net zero is very, very important. I hope whatever the steps are being taken to protect our planets from harsh global warming will be the constructive one, and it will really, really help us to protect our earth. So all of us should work collectively to protect our earth, and this is what I am just about to say, and the terminology of net zero with regard to climate change. So thank you so much. Stay tuned for the other videos on different topics. I hope it makes sense to you all. If you don't understand, I will try more better than this and with more conceptual clarity. And comment below, share with your friends, and I will be coming with new videos as well. And this 26th conference of Paris Agreement, there are many topics that have been covered by Indian Prime Minister also. So I will be briefly discussing about all those topics as well. So please stay tuned and with this channel and subscribe and share with your friends also who is trying to understand the global warming and the steps that are being taken by different countries, and also people who are preparing for exam. So this lecture will help them to understand about the net zero. So with this, I conclude my speech. Thank you so much. Patrutru.